tremendous opportunity to grow steadily, increasing unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Two strategic interventions in agriculture can ignite the national economy and set it on the path to inclusive growth. On my first day in office, I outlined to the nation the hard times and difficult choices we faced, as well as the respective costs and benefits of policies at the time and the strategies proposed in our agenda. It was clear that low agricultural productivity was not only raising the cost of living, but also driving poverty among millions whose livelihoods are connected to agriculture. As I've said, 70% of all employment is from the agricultural sector, with its linkages in manufacturing, value addition, and agro-processing. At the same time, the importation of food items and expenditure on subsidies, including duty waivers, were depleting our foreign exchange and exerting severe budgetary pressure without attacking the fundamental productivity problem. We were living dangerously and beyond our means. I therefore propose to retire the prevailing policy of subsidizing consumption in favor of subsidizing production. Instead, we started investing in agriculture, the country's biggest employer, largest contributor to our GDP, and the mainstay of all our rural communities and economies. The strategic objective of this intervention was to facilitate all Kenyan farmers to transform their production from a futile struggle for meager subsistence, which comprises brief moments of food availability, followed by long periods of scarcity, malnutrition, and poverty. Instead, we transformed this to surplus production, food security, and sustainable incomes. Because arable land in Kenya is limited and our population has increased over the years, the only way to increase agricultural productivity is through the use of high-quality inputs, in particular fertilizer, which significantly increases crop yields in the same area of land, use mechanization, and support farmers to be able to produce. In other words, by addressing the cost, quality, and availability of inputs and associated direct production expenses, we were setting out to liberate our agricultural sector from chronic underperformance and transforming it into the primary driver of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda and the foundation of Kenya's prosperity, industrial capacity, and competitive advantage. Upon assuming office, therefore, I announced that the government would prepare farmers for the last planting season that was late last year by making available 300,000 metric tons or 6 million bags subsidized at 3,500 each, down from 7,000 a bag last season. The program was going to be accompanied by a farmer registration exercise and the deployment of an accurate and transparent e-voucher system for managing distribution of the farm inputs. We were also going to collaborate with county governments to facilitate last-mile delivery to farm gates. I'm very happy that some county governments actually worked with us on this exercise, and we were able to open additional stores in different parts of the country. Earlier in the year, I presided over the launch of the first phase of the subsidized fertilizer program and the inaugural phase of the National Farmer Digital Registration exercise. For the first time in more than a decade, the fertilizer reached farmers in time to prepare for planting And in that time, we delivered 2 million 50-kilogram bag to farmers last season. Similarly, since the onset of the long rains this year, we have prepared farmers in 41 counties and delivered to them 3,536,162 bags of crop-specific, region-specific fertilizer, and in the process registered more than 5 million farmers and issued 3,628,512 e-vouchers and established a last-mile distribution network. For the first time in our country's history, we are providing farmers with fertilizer whose formulation is customized to feed crops with their specific requirements of elements and address local soil nutrient composition. It is also the first time that fertilizer has been delivered directly to farmers on the basis of land acreage and crop production capacity, thanks to technology. Our last-mile logistics were enhanced through effective partnership with county governments, and as a result, counties and communities made warehouses and stores available to the National Cereals and Produce Board to serve farmers efficiently and as close to them as possible. ICT, once again, proved to be a game changer for our innovative intervention to serve farmers. After working with local administration to register farmers, and I must congratulate my deputy for spearheading that process, we collaborated with Safaricom to develop and deploy the fertilizer e-forger system to administer the fertilizer subsidy transparently, accurately, and efficiently. By cutting out brokers, middlemen, and other intermediaries, we have eradicated corruption and inefficiency from the program in order to concentrate maximum benefits on the farmer. The crops targeted by the e-voucher subsidized fertilizer program are maize, coffee, sugarcane, potatoes, rice, tea, cotton, edible oils, and tomatoes. The total amount spent so far on the fertilizer subsidy program is a small fraction of the annual cost of consumption subsidies, and yet its impact is nothing short of tremendous. In 2017, Kenya produced 39 million bags of maize. In 2018, production rose to 44 million bags of maize, but later came down to 40 in 2019, and again 40 million bags in 2021. Our target this year and annually going forward is to produce 61 million bags annually between this year all the way to 2027. Long rains annually account for 80% of our season production. From the long rain season alone, which is underway, and we want to thank God that we got rain this year, better than the last several years. We estimate a yield of 44 million bags in this season, compared to last year's 32 million bags. We estimate that we will get an extra 12 million bags, thanks, by the grace of God, to the rains that we got, thanks to the patriotism of our farmers. If there are patriotic citizens of our country, it is our farmers. Our farmers have come in full force. They have gone beyond their normal call of duty to respond to our intervention, and they are doing a phenomenal job as a farming community. As a result of effectively administered strategic interventions, we are definitely on course to meet national demand in full this year. Today, I am proud to announce the commencement of the second phase of our program. On this leg, we shall begin to immediately bring down the price of fertilizer from 3,500 to 2,500 per 50 kilogram bag beginning yesterday. And I'm told that yesterday alone, 34,000 bags of subsidized fertilizer were sold to our farmers, a record in a long time, meaning that the farmers know the importance of subsidized fertilizer. And this is for the short rains now that is going to begin next month all the way to December. At this price, we expect significantly higher uptake of fertilizer. Since fertilizer is the game changer of our agricultural productivity, this should translate to higher production in the next planting season. I encourage farmers to embrace better and greater use of fertilizer to increase yields in the coming seasons. The government is also appealing to farmers to redouble the use of fertilizer per acre to increase agricultural production. In the long rain season, most farmers used 1 bag of fertilizer per acre. Data shows that if you double the fertilizer per acre, you will get more yield from between 20 and 25 bags per acre. Many farmers who use 1 bag per acre get anywhere between 12 and 15 bags. But if they double the use of fertilizer, and I want every farmer to listen to me because this is what I do in my farm. Yeah? When you double the use of fertilizer, there is a direct correlation to the production that you get as a farmer. So I am asking our farmers, now that we have reduced the cost of fertilizer from 7,000 now to 2,500, they have absolutely no reason why they should not double the fertilizer they are using from 1 bag to 2 bags, and we can immediately double our production, and we can get rid of the shortages and the high costs of food in our country. For the coming short rains, the government has embarked on the distribution of fertilizer to farmers throughout the country with a view to ultimately delivering 100,000 metric tons, or at least 2 million bags of 50 kilogram bags at the subsidized price of 2,500. I'm asking farmers in the short rain regions that we are working with the county governments, and I am happy the chair of the Council of Governors is here, so that we can work with them on the last mile delivery to make sure that our farmers have access to fertilizer, especially the last mile component, so that we can enhance the productivity of our farmers. I still see, whenever I go around the country, that many farmers are not yet using sufficient fertilizer. Many of them are planting without. Some of them are planting with half a bag. Those who are trying are doing with 1 bag. I am encouraging farmers going forward that let us use at least minimum 2 as we go to 3, because that is how we are going to increase our productivity, and that is how we are going to feed our nation, and that is how we are going to bring down the cost of living in Kenya. Further, I'm happy to announce that our partnership with county governments has provided last-mile delivery of fertilizer to farmers and will be complemented with the opening of more than 50 distribution centers across the country. We will do more if the need arises. I am asking our county governments to work with us, to work with the National Cereals and Produce Board in opening additional centers where we can make these fertilizers available. And we are going to work on a mechanism where this will be jointly rolled out between the national government and our county governments. And we can agree on how the last mile can be worked out. My suggestion would be the county governments provide the space and the stores, and as a national government, we will work with them in making sure that there is personnel which can be shared between the county and the national government to make sure those stores run efficiently and serve the farmers as best as we all want. As we prepare for a bumper harvest, thanks to a successful collaboration between the Almighty God who has given us rain, the government of Kenya who has delivered fertilizer, and our very hard-working farmers who has done the most. I also take this opportunity to convey more good news to our farmers. We are now implementing a national initiative to acquire 100 dryers, which will be distributed strategically to various NCPB depots nationwide, with the aim of serving maize farmers as well as cereal farmers at subsidized and highly affordable rates. I know, for example, that farmers have been spending anywhere between about 60 shillings per 90 kilogram bag of maize and thereabout. We are proposing that this year, Government of Kenya is going to meet half the bill for drying. Again, this is our strategy to make sure that we eliminate post-harvest losses. As we all know, we have seen farmers trying to dry their produce in all manner of ways, on roadsides, along the roads, in all manner of places. I want to tell our farmers that the government of Kenya is not only going to provide the facilities for them to do the drying, but we are going to meet half the cost of drying so that we minimize on the almost 20-30% losses that we that normally we lose because of management of the post-harvest challenges. We are also doing this because the weathermen are telling us that there might be some El Nino rains further down the road, and we want to make sure that the El Nino rains do not disrupt our production. Just as we have maximized farmers' comfort by eliminating middlemen, brokers, conmen, and intermediaries in the distribution of inputs through ICT, we are also maximizing farmer returns from their produce by likewise removing brokers, middlemen, and others, as well as other perennial marketing challenges related to cereals and pulses. To this end, we shall implement the Warehouse Receipt System Act of 2019, which has never been implemented, which establishes a structured and well-regulated trading system for agricultural commodities. This system creates an ecosystem with opportunities for the private sector and National Cereals and Produce Board to provide a trading platform that links buyers and sellers and facilitates access to credit by agricultural producers. The warehouse receipt system also supports the reduction of post-harvest losses and cushions farmers against low farm gate prices. Again, the minister has clarity on how he's going to work with the private sector to make sure that We make the capacities within National Cereals and Produce Board and other government entities available for the private sector to work with us to make sure that we eliminate drop in prices that significantly affects farmers, but also we provide storage and other capabilities under trading mechanism that is fair both to the consumer but also fair to our farmers. We are increasing the budget, again, as an intervention for the Agricultural Finance Corporation for seasonal crop lending from 2 billion shillings to 10 billion to facilitate affordable credit that will be available to our farmers. The credit will be provided at single-digit rates to further reduce our cost of production and enhance the productivity of our farmers. We have so many farmers that every season borrow money to buy inputs. The money that has been available has been between 2 billion and 2.5 billion over the years, which